welcome to a simple tutorial on how to paint a jack-o'-lantern picture. Let's get started. What you're going to need for this project is a black colored pencil, some paint, blue and black, red and yellow, some paintbrushes, some water, and white paint. And of course, we're going to need some paper towels. Here's our picture. And this is the color palette that we'll be using. You could also use a paper plate to mix your colors. Here I am mixing my colors. I'm mixing blue and black. This is a sky blue. That's going to be for our background. And then red and yellow, which is going to make orange for our pumpkin. And white. I dip my brushes in some water to make sure my bristles are clean. Once I know they're clean, we're good to go. So the first step is to paint our background color. I used that blue black and I thought it was a little too black. So I mixed some more blue in there and then proceeded to paint, pulling from that black. A little goes a long way in painting. So we're just getting that cover. And as I continue on, I don't constantly dip my paintbrush into the paint. I pull from other sources of the color to give it that sort of faded effect. And especially since we're going towards the moon, which is a light source, so this night sky is going to lighten up a little bit. This particular paint I have to use a lot of water for. It's very similar to watercolor. So if you're using acrylic, you won't have dipping as much into the water as much as I am. But play around, have fun with the paints, because learning your medium is essential to learning how to paint well. And see, I'm using the same black and blue, but darkening it up a little bit for the foreground, or for the ground. And this one, I'm using a little bit more jagged paintbrush styles to simulate grass. And this, you can get away with a lot of mixing darks and lights together. And see, it's just more of a zigzag style. So if you're wondering what the clear gesso bottle is, it's what I use to put on top of the paper, so it's a barrier against water, and it won't destroy your paper. As you can see, I accidentally make some pools of dark, so I just go in with my paper towel and just lighten that up as is wet. I just go over it again. See, we already got some textures going on that make it look like it's outside. We didn't have to actually put in clouds or anything like that to make that sky. Here I am mixing my orange with the red and yellow, and of course it's going to take a lot more yellow than it is going to take red, so it's easy to overdo it. Just play around with it till you get the right color. here I am again, just doing these sort of the similar approach to I did in the background, but I tightened up my strokes so it doesn't create as much texture. Here we're getting a lot of coverage, and I'm darkening the sides to give it, and the bottom too, to give it a three-dimensional look. See, I used too much red when I remixed the orange, so I went back in, some more yellow and a dash of white in there. Tested it out on the newspaper. Mistakes are fine with painting. That's how you learn. And there I use that little bit of a darker orange, that reddish orange, and put it on the side. And it gives it more of a three-dimensional feel to it. I brought some more red in on the sides there. Pulled in from that red pool, so it would create a fade. And I'm just going over the crevices of the jack-o'-lantern here. Darkening up the bottom a little bit, wanting to bring in that orange. And here I'm just using a single color of red, and with more water I was able to get a sort of a different color out of the paint. Here I'm doing yellow and white to get it a very pale white for the moon. Play around with it. If you're not comfortable with it, you could either wait till it dries if you're working with acrylics. If not, you can wipe it off. Just trying to get that color. I'm just going over what I have to just bring in different colors. And since we have a handle on the jack-o'-lantern, we have to make sure that the back of the jack-o'-lantern is brighter than the mouth or the eyes. I got a little paint right there. It's not a big deal. Again, you could either paint over it or wipe it away once you get it, once you see it. So I'm doing a middle layer here in the eyes and in the nose, and later on in the mouth, because the candle itself is not going to have a unified light throughout the jack-o'-lantern. So I'm bringing in a little bit of a darker yellow into that very pale yellow. And then some white just to sort of highlight. And then here I'm just doing a darker sort of like that orangey red. And then I'm what is called dry brushing. And that's just pulling a non-wet, it has no paint on it, it's just a dry brush. And you're just pulling down the paint with it. For the stem, I'm using black and burnt sienna. So just mixing that. And now here's the fun part. So that was a little bit of a mistake, but we could bring it back. You can make it part of the picture. So I'm just putting some stars, and this is the best way to do it. Just water up your paintbrush and just load it with the white paint, and just use your finger and just spray it around. And then see that little spot, those couple splashes, I just turn them into clouds. Now we're using our colored pencil. We're just going to go over the cuts where the eyes, the mouth. We're going to define certain parts of the jack-o'-lantern, like the candle and the dark parts of the teeth. And the ridges of the pumpkin. And the ridges of the leaves. So I have two there. And now I'm putting in some grass blades. Don't forget to sign your work. I'm also giving the moon an eye and a smiley face. So good job, and this is the finished piece. I hope you have fun with this project and continue on learning more about art. All right. Thank you and happy Halloween.